All right, welcome to the best Rotary Club in the outstanding. Our invocation today is another set of inspirational quotes. Since I don't invocate very well, I'm just came up with some good quotes I found on the internet. First one, if you can dream it, you can do it. Walt Disney. Opportunities don't happen, you create them. Chris Grossner. The elevator to success is out of order. You'll have to use the stairs one step at a time. Joe Gerard. It is never too late to be what you might have been. George Eliot. Do the best you can. No one can do more than that. John Wooden. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Winston Churchill. Keep your face always towards the sunshine, and the shadows will fall behind you. Walt Whitman. And finally, you can't cross the sea merely by standing and staring at this water. D.H. Lawrence. And with that, let's do our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And Keith, do we have a song?
Last week, bringing 5 consecutive victories to the Mariners here in the last 8 days. So why don't we see what we can do by singing God Bless America. God bless America,
land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the ocean, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. All right, thank you, Keith. Yeah, great thing about Keith being up there singing is if you accidentally hear my voice singing, he drowns it out. So that's got to be a good thing. Let's see. Do we have any visiting Rotarians? No visiting Rotarians. Guests of Rotarians. We got Niall again.
You know, when someone's your friend and you're sitting next to you, you don't think of him as a guest, but I forgot about that. He's not a Rotarian, but he should be. I got Niles next to me, and he's just one of those great people that you get to know one time in your life. And today's a big deal for him because, you know, he did a carving that's at the at 9/11 and in New York, and so we were just talking about, you know, the impact that this day had on us a long time ago now. But anyhow, Niles.
Welcome, Niles. And not seeing anyone else, we have a few announcements. Carl Garrison, would you like to start off our announcements?
Well, I just wanted to mention one more time about the golf tournament. This is the leaderboard over here. You'll notice that I kept score and I'm one of the winners. So my team, we were tied for first. However, we had a putt off, and I believe Brock's team, let's see, it was Brock and Ben Jarsfeld. They ended up winning it. So congratulations to them with the putt off. And we have a long drive winner. That was Nelson, the attorney. What's his first name? Paul Nelson, yeah, he won the long drive, and Christine Kilcup won the long drive. And then the women had a putt off, and I don't remember who won the putt off. Yeah, okay. So somebody won the putt off. We had lots of prizes. It was a lot of fun. And we're in the process of doing a critique of the event, and it'll be even better next year. All right, Mr. President.
Thanks, sir. So since I've kind of stuck club business and announcements together, the first thing we have before the rest of the announcements is we have at the board meeting on Tuesday, we talked about some of our projects that we've had on tap. And one of them we received the other day, and the board approved it. But since we were having a meeting just a couple of days after our board meeting, we thought we'd bring it to the club because it is a $20,000. It's pretty much a $20,000. This is a good idea. So the club approved or reviewed and approved this request, and I'll read the request to you. President Tucker, last year we received funding. Oh, this is from the Sedro Woolley Riding Club from Doug Wood. Last year, we received funding to help us complete phase 1 of the rebuilding of the stock area at the rodeo grounds. We completed phase 1 in May and June of 2025. This improved the ability to provide safe access for our livestock and for volunteers. It is a great addition to our grounds and has allowed us to create a warm-up area for the contestants to warm up their horses before they compete. Our rodeo is continuing to grow and improve, and we are extremely thankful for the Rotary support for the many projects over the years, the restroom rebuild, bleacher rebuild, pen rebuild, and many volunteer hours of skilled help on various projects. We would like to request another $20,000 to complete phase 2 of our rebuild. We will again provide matching funds, and our members will be responsible for getting the project completed, along with several Rotarians as well helping. Thank you for consideration. From Shelby Hurley, club president, and Doug Wood, vice president. So what I'm looking for today, if we have any discussion, I'm going to ask for a motion to accept this and go forward with that. So do I have a motion from the floor to accept this? We have two. Do we have a second? And we have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion on this or any questions? I don't know that I can answer too many of them because Doug's not here, but do we have any questions? We do. That's where Frank comes in today. He's a sergeant at arms. Yeah. We have several things that are on today's list that we went through the special projects request. And we're going to talk about everything we've done so far. This was the only major one that we had right now. So not hearing any other discussion, and Mike has called for the question. Those in favor of approving this request, please say aye. Anyone opposed? Hearing none, we're good to go. Moving forward, we'll have it'll probably cost Doug a couple of bucks because he wasn't here to see this through. And you're going to have to be kind of hard on people today for Sergeant at Arms because we need that money back. Next up, today, our September 11th, it is a solemn day for our whole nation, but also we have a party scheduled. We have our salmon barbecue. I know there's been a lot of information put out on the salmon barbecue earlier on, but I think Josh is looking for people to show up at 2 if they can to help set up. And then I think let's see, social hours from 5 to 6 and dinner is at 6 p.m. September 13th, 8 a.m. to noon, our work party at Teak Martin's house. We brought that forward a couple other times. If you're able to come and haven't shown up or haven't signed up already, all you have to do is show up, bring rakes, shovels, weed whackers, etc. I just got an email in yesterday from our area president or area district governor. October 4th at the Swinomish Casino is the Burlington Rotary auction. There is a couple of tables open for local clubs to attend. So if you are interested, we can get a hold of Stephanie Hooper, or I can get a hold of Stephanie Hooper. If you're interested, let me know. And our next board meeting will be October 14th, right over here at 5:30 at the Senior Center. And the final one is start gearing up for the Christmas party. We're going to talk a little bit about the Christmas party coming up here. That was a topic of discussion at 3 hours of my life that I won't get back again at a city council meeting last night. So make sure it's on your calendar. It's in your book. So December 5th, we're going to have a Christmas party, whether we have to have it out in the snow or where we have to have it. And with that, Frank, do we have a raffle? And Carl, could you help him out with the raffle? Thank you. Oh, Rick's got it.
$12. Niles, isn't it? Yeah.
Spin the wheel.
Not a cougar or husky, pay $2 each. $51, 5-1. Lynn. $11. Teak. $5 cash. Donated back. Thank you, Teak.
And with that, you're up, Sergeant at Arms.
Okay, so we did God Bless America. We talked a little about Niles and what he's done for the 9/11 memorial back there. This is kind of a crazy day for our country. 24 years ago today, we woke up with something that changed the world and everything that we lived in. So if you were here and you weren't alive then, put $5 in the middle of the table, which should be no one, right? I hope. I'm even older. But on that morning, we lost 2,971 personnel or people in that one event, 343 firefighters, 77 police officers, and over 50 military personnel just from those buildings and the Pentagon. With that, we have, obviously had a ripple effect of, PTSD and changes from the economy and loss of wages and things that changed. And with that, it's been a crazy time. So along with, the flags are at half mast for that already today, but the president and the governor put the flags at half mast last night for the assassination of Charlie Kirk as well. And we have the school shootings last night as well. That just crazy, horrific violence and stuff that's happened in the world. So we could have a moment of silence for all those lives that were lost and the changes that affected our world. Thank you. And with that, if you're early out, $2. If you are not going to make the salmon barbecue tonight, $2. And if you haven't put at least $2 on the table, $2, and I think that's good. Any happy bucks?
Happy bucks. There you go.
Got a happy 5. Last year, some of my car cronies got together, brought cars down to the salmon barbecue, and they thought that was the best meal they've had in a long time. So I've corralled about 10 of them to bring their cars down this evening for you guys to gander at. And
Perfect.
hope
Thank you.
you
Rick.
enjoy them.
I got a couple happy bucks. I went to a wedding in England over the weekend, and I now understand why they lost to us. They drive on the wrong side of the road, and I just couldn't figure it out. But I'm so glad I live in America and we speak English instead of whatever language they speak in England.
Any other happy bucks?
Well, apparently I'm happy because Mark just took all my extra cash that I just had laying on my desk. So I'm happy. I'm happy.
Carl?
Well, we're the young family. We're really jubilant because Monday we take off, and it's going to be quite the family trip. Going to be reconnecting with some cousins, handing off some of our family legacy that was brought over and established here in this country back to the family that's in the Netherlands, and looking forward to that. And they drive on the correct side of the road in the Netherlands. So they let me have an international license, so I'll be zooming around there. And then we head over to Nuremberg and start some touring that involves floating up the Rhine and up the Main River up to the junction of Germany, France, and Switzerland, and then fly back. Not directly back home, but daughter is having the second grandchild, and we will be there for a couple of weeks to help support family there. I'll miss you all greatly. I'm sure the fines will rack up for me. Thank you.
I have 12 left. I am happy bucks for our event yesterday. We did have a Rotarian table to celebrate our 40th anniversary for Helping Hands. We did have Edgar Martinez there yesterday. Sorry it wasn't open to the public, but it was really fun to celebrate the impact that Helping Hands has made and all the support that this club has given it. So thank you.
Any other happy bucks?
Good. All right. So it's time for early leavers if you need to bug out. But today we are going to be going over the board meeting and a couple other future planning projects and some other issues I wanted to bring to the club in general. So first off, one of the most important things we did is we approved our budget last night. Steve, is there anything that you wanted to say regarding budget, or if you have any questions specifically on the budget? We have Steve right here. I put him on the spot.
We won't do the passage of it yet, but we're probably going to have around 185,000 to spend this year. So after all the expenses are taken out, so no, not at all.
As usual, a man of few words.
Which fund? Club? I think it's about 14. I've paid the district 50/50 and the international already. So we got one more of those and then just it's all play money then. No. Yeah, we're down to 17 now. We got a few more. So other than that.
Any other questions for Steve? Yep. All right. Thanks, Steve. So one of the things that we looked at is on our Club Runner website, there's a place for you to apply for projects, or funding from Rotary for projects. And I went through there and looked at all of those projects, trying to get caught up on those. And one of the things that we don't have a locked in criteria for projects. We got kind of a gut feel for projects. But one of the things we did is we sat down with Ruth, and she just pulled up GPT and says, what are some good project guidelines for Rotary? It sounded like she was reading from a Rotary book somewhere, but it was just AI talking to her right there. It was kind of creepy. But one of the things that she came up with was just a list of project acceptance guidelines, which really goes along with exactly what we've been doing anyway. I'm not going to read all of these. I'm going to hit the high points though. But the first one is any projects that are submitted to us requesting funding for should align with Rotary's areas of focus, which should be supporting education, growing local economies, fighting disease, providing clean water, saving mothers and children, and promoting peace. So pretty much that doesn't leave much out. Well, you know, it does kind of just point us in the right direction. These projects should have a local impact. There should be hands-on service opportunities, sustainability and long-term benefit, partnerships and leverage, which you saw in the rodeo grounds application. That's gonna hit all of those points. That's a local economy. That's partnerships. That is something tangible you can take a look at. Visibility and awareness, same thing. Youth and education emphasis. Financial stewardship and transparency. Rotarian support. No event sponsorships. And no multi-year commitments. We did not write any of these things or even talk about writing these things into like a rule for us to follow. It leaves us open for opportunities that come up. If we do have a multi-year thing that comes up, we can still move towards that. But right now, that's not something that we're ready to tackle yet. We had a really good conversation about it, though. So that kind of gave us some rough guidelines, or actually some fairly lengthy spirit of the law kind of guidelines. And so when we were looking at some of these projects that are on our plate right now, we had a YMC request for funding to help remodel this building right over here, their current rec center. We've got that on hold right now to get a little bit more information, because we wanted to see exactly what we're looking at funding and whether it kind of meets our need. Or we've had a couple of requests that they already have funding mechanisms in place, and we would be having an auction to support their having an auction to raise money. Doesn't seem like that's probably the best route to go, unless there's some very specific things that we can do to help. So we're going to take a close look at some of these and see if they need to go forward. We did have a request for a vehicle for Children of the Valley, asked for money towards a vehicle. We decided that they have enough funding mechanisms in place that they should be able to go forward with this themselves. We're more than happy to help on some other front, but right now that didn't seem like $9,000 towards helping them buy a van to move people around seemed like a good investment on our part. Another item that came up was really just a notification, which we really appreciate from some of our partners that we've had, is the Clear Lake covered play area. They haven't been able to start building that because they're running into all sorts of permitting and all that from the county. So they've had to defer that until, we should probably talk to an elected official about that. Do we have any elected officials in here about those kind of, anyway. So they're going to defer that, but the money's already paid on that. That's not something that we're bringing any more money into. It's just the money's sitting there. I wanted to let us know where the status of this project was. The city has requested irrigation on Teserick Field. And we put that one on hold until we could talk about that a little bit more. This would really fit our bill, but it's a $22,000 ask to put in irrigation for a baseball field. And I think we want to dive a little bit deeper into that before we jump on board with that. Carl. If we need, got it. Yeah, we're gonna hold off on doing this, and I want to talk to our board again next month to see what our thoughts are, and maybe put the question out to the club, what you all's thoughts are on that, with just a little more information. Let's see, picnic table funding. We already took care of that. And if you haven't, I haven't been up there to see it, but the Olmsted Park up there, I guess they are just going to town. They are building, and they've got the retention pond, a little shallow, long pond up there on the hill. And they've got the caretaker's place built. We've already got the money set aside for a dock. And if Louis was here, I talked to him about that. He had a question about that. At least a year and a half ago, we had already funded part of this dock that they're going to build. It doesn't allow us to do any work. Apparently, they don't want us to put some sort of seaworthy vehicle out on the pond up there. They want professionals to do it. So, but they're looking. They have got already got the money approved for that. We're just waiting for, I think, permits again. So, but that's on hold. And then let's see, we had a request for supporting another fundraiser, but we missed that deadline. And once again, it would be asking us to take money from our fundraiser to pay to do help another fundraiser. Doesn't really fit our bill. So those are some of the things that were on our request list. And Doug's came in, he handed me an envelope. It was kind of like it was a drug deal. He just kind of walked up, handed me an envelope and said, "Here, check this out." And then he faded off to lunch last week, but we were kind of expecting it. The next thing that came up was, and something that we're following suit on, is the board has approved donating $5,050, 50-50, to polio eradication on the bigger picture with Rotary. We might even have, they have Miss Vicky, they call it. There's a old antique car that they drive to locations as part of the fundraising. They had it up in Calgary. I think somebody drove it all the way to Calgary. And, but we've done this in the past. Since we're District 50-50, we're pledging 50-50. And one of the things that Rotary International pushes is every individual Rotary member pledges so much a year towards the fight for the eradication of polio, which we learned at the international conference that there's only 2 countries left in the world that have wild polio left, and that's Afghanistan and Pakistan. And they're actually fighting to get that finished off there. They're fighting against taboos and religious and governmental interference and all that, but we're working on that. So that one was kind of a pretty easy one for our board to look at. The one that's a relatively new item was our the YES program, and that's Youth Engaged in Service. We have 3 students that have signed up this year, and we very rarely get one from Sedro Woolley. So we have 3. So we approved $2,000 apiece for them, which is what it costs to send them to essentially on their mission. I don't know what else to call it, support their trip. Carl, did you have a question or?
Well, you're talking about Miss Vicky.
Yep.
That's the same car that the fellow that owns it, he drove it across Russia, put a small block V8 in it and bulletproof the thing like you can't believe. And he drove the old Shanghai to Moscow rally in that vehicle, which is a brutal road rally, which is a lot of times not on roads. So he's a really, Lee Harmon is his name.
Yep.
And he's an amazing Rotary volunteer. He's donated I'm sure more than $100,000 to Rotary. So he's really a go-getter. And it's an interesting story. So for what it's worth.
And most likely we're going to get them to come up here and do a presentation and have the Miss Vicky here at some point. The next thing is a little closer to home. Isn't a funding request. It's a couple of things that came up on our lunch discussions. So talking to Cheryl, one of the things is, I don't know how many of you go grocery shopping at your house. I do. Groceries are more and more expensive. And one of the things that she's going to have to do to kind of keep things going is increase the cost of lunch to $18 from $16. And and she didn't get a lot of input on stuff for different meals, but she's already got some ideas for different meals, talking about maybe a barbecue, a sandwich bar, that kind of stuff. Maybe have breakfast for lunch one day, biscuits and gravy and eggs and that kind of stuff. So we've got some changes on the way, but also with that had numerous people. How many of you have cash in your pocket? I know a lot of us, and if you look, a lot of us either have gray or no hair that have money in our pockets. There's a lot that don't. I have 2 children that never have cash on them. So one of the things that I asked Cheryl to look at is to start taking Venmo. And we'll clarify what all you can, if you want to pay a little bit less, it's just Venmo though. So you're basically paying them whatever you want to pay or whatever you work out. So if we have a smaller amount for a salad, soup and salad, she can go that route. If you do the full meal deal for lunch, you can do that. So I think that's going to be helpful for this. But once again, this is a generational thing. My daughter does this every day, and she had to walk me through how to sign up a Venmo or set up Venmo on my phone. But it'll be helpful for that. So do we have any concerns about that? I'm not necessarily Venmo, but lunch. She's talked to individuals about it, and it's just the cost of doing business. I took 2 very small humans and my daughter, and we all got chicken nuggets last night at McDonald's for my grandson's soccer game, and it was $34. And that was chicken nuggets galore, but not much of anything else. So it costs us. So that's kind of where we're going with that. And we'll let you know. I'll find out from Cheryl when she wants to implement that increase in the cost. And then the next one was the big one. I have 3.5 hours of my life, and part of my soul was taken away last night by sitting through a 3.5 hour city council meeting. Joel, and that'll be $1. Because that was part of your fault, you being the city council, and I would tell Julia she owes me $1 too, or owes us $1 too. So on the last night at the city council meeting, they had a first read on an updated ordinance for the community center. Right now, they're not taking reservations for new events based on their review of the events leading to the shooting in here around the 4th of July. But the new ordinance had really 2 provisions. And, honestly, I didn't think I was going to be going to another city council in my life. And then I was stuck there. And this ordinance, it was the last thing on the agenda. The last goddamn thing on the agenda. And my wife doesn't watch this, so I'm not going to get in any trouble for that. Although I will pay $1 for speaking so roughly. So really, this is the background summary for this ordinance. And there's 2 versions that the city is proposing. um, they're going to be changing the fee schedule for the community center. And from what I understand, the fee schedule was part of what caused some of our issues. Sedro Woolley's got one of the nicest facilities to come to. It's one of the cheapest and easiest to get into. So we attract a lot of people from other areas. We honestly don't have a big enough population to support numerous quinceañeras, which was the event that happened here the night of the shooting, but we get them from other cities. So we're attracting more folks, but that's because we don't charge a lot of money. But the two different versions, number one is no alcohol at all. No alcohol. Alcohol shall not be permitted at the community center, and the city shall retain the security deposit if alcohol is present in the building or the parking lot. So that was one item. And I think the city council, with the exception of one, we're pretty much steering away from that. I even asked, it didn't clarify whether it was possession or consumption. And Todd Wright actually brought that up at our board meeting. He says, well, what about our bottles of wine here and all that? That's not the spirit of what they're getting at, and that's not what they're geared towards. So I wanted to clarify that. And the other one is alcohol is permitted. However, events with live music or dance, but no alcohol, continue to require a facility monitor and a security deposit of $1,000. If the reservations indicate alcohol will not be present, the city will retain the security deposit if alcohol is present. Events with alcohol do not require a facility monitor, but the Sedro Woolley Police Department will assign 2 officers. It says security personnel, but it will be officers. The city will charge $250 per hour for the event, covers both security officers with a minimum of 4 hours, and that'll be $1,000. And the security deposit has been increased for events with alcohol to $1,500. So the security deposit is not a huge issue, but I brought up, it says, so we have our Christmas party here and we have alcohol. So are we going to have 2 police officers monitoring that event? They're more than welcome to come in, but we're going to have to pay for them to be there from now. Doesn't really make sense. I don't know what our average age here is, but I don't think we got too many people scrapping in the parking lot after a Sedro Woolley Christmas party. But I think they're looking at a blanket coverage. Any event that serves alcohol is going to require having police present. Not against the police, but I am kind of against paying an extra $1,000 for something that we don't necessarily need. I was thinking of, I think my daughter was looking at having a combination, my 60th and my 40th wedding anniversary here next summer. Not thinking that I'm going to need much security for that, because I'm going to probably invite a lot of people from the police department and a lot of you. So that's one of the concerns that I had, is that we're going to be having to have chaperones for all events because one event went south. So I went up as the Rotary president to kind of state our concerns. I understand the city's concerns. They've got an attorney monitoring this, and for liability reasons, I don't think they want to cherry pick those events. In the past, starting with Doug Wood, any event that had an application put in for having, an event serving alcohol, the chief of police signed off on whether we needed security or not. And most events did not need security. Unfortunately, a lot of the quinceañeras with a lot of people and a lot of alcohol did. So it did appear that we were needing to schedule officers to work here when there were Hispanic related events. And I think that's probably what the city is trying to get away from, is they're trying to be impartial, but being impartial is going to cause all of us to end up spending this extra money. So I went up and threw all these things out on the table and just said, hey, just consideration. This wasn't open for public or for debate at the time, but I did speak during the public comment section. And I don't think anything of what I said really changed much, but they are on their first read. So there's going to be a couple more, at least one more event, or at least one more reading of this ordinance before we see where this is going to go. So we're really going to have to see where that goes and then decide what we want to do. It really comes down to, it's going to cost us an extra $1,000 to have our Christmas party here if we want to have wine and beer and stuff like that. And I just can kind of see the writing on the wall. I can't see us getting around this. I mean, I don't want to put Joellen on the spot, but I don't know. But it's still in the works. John.
This is the way the world turns. So let's say you have a family and you've been having Christmas parties at a family for years and years and years, and you've always had a little bit of wine and you're having a good time. And then one of the family members has a drinking problem. You just stop having alcohol.
Right.
It's not that big a deal.
It really
I think we should have a Christmas party with no alcohol and move on. It's just, and if people want to drink, they can go to the bar or whatever. And so this is just our reality. And the poor city can't discriminate, this person's dangerous, this person's not dangerous, whatever. So that's what we're going to do. That's what I think we should do.
And that is absolutely correct. We do not have to have alcohol to have a party. However, I am going to just continue approaching and say, would you make sure you're keeping all of us in mind when you're making these decisions? I just foresee it is the ages that we're living in and the liability, that we're looking at.
We need to have this community center open to the community as much as possible. Okay, that's the purpose of it. So we can't have a whole bunch. So we should have it open to everyone in the community, and we need to keep people safe.
Yep. And Joellen, did you have, can you say anything?
What I can say is I also feel that I cannot get those hours back in my life. So I feel for you there. But in sitting through that, the general consensus is that everyone should not be punished by the actions of few. And in looking forward, I do not feel that the alcohol will be taken away. I think we can still maintain safety for our constituents. And I feel that personally, although I said that my vote was to have the alcohol with everyone except for one, I disagreed with the rates that they were imposing and the officers in which they were also imposing to be there. So I do think that it would be beneficial to all if you wanted to come and voice your opinions and your thoughts at the next council meeting when they are going over this, because it will make a difference.
A workaround might be to have 2 officers present or the police chief.
Yeah. I know the police chief likes to drink beer, so he might want to come here on his own. But John's got a very good point. We don't have to have alcohol to have a party. We have had successful Christmas parties, other places as well. We just don't have a lot of venues for that. And anywhere else that we would try to go would probably have the same issues, and we really don't have a place set up to do that. I know one year that I got to go, I only stopped for a few moments, but they had it at Duane Lane when the building was there and had that in there. I don't know where they had it in there, but I know they had the Christmas party in there. So this is in the showroom. So this is just an issue that's come up. It is not a break your sword on this one and break partnerships or anything like that, because we can certainly forge on. But it is something that I would like to make sure that we voice our concerns and let the chips fall where they may. But yeah, there's that little bit of my soul that just withered away as I walked back into a city council meeting after several years of not having to go. Yeah, but I honestly didn't have to pay attention to anything, so I could scroll on my phone. So I wasn't sitting on my table. I was actually hoping no big loud music started playing from some, thing I was watching. So that was a kind of an interesting event.
I do have a comment.
Yeah.
I think it was John that just said it, that the community center should be used for the community. My concern is it's being taken up on Sundays by church. And not that I'm against church by any means, but I don't feel like, to me, that's like letting a business come in here on one day a week and conduct their business out of here. And then the people of the public can't use it. I know that a while back we had a rock show. The rock shows always had their rock show here for many, many years, once a year, and they were unable to do it here because of church on Sunday. So I don't know how that is okay to have it tied up as a business type thing on Sundays.
And they don't do communion with wine or anything like that, do they? Because that'll put the kibosh on that.
I don't know, but that wasn't even my concern. It's not available to the community on Sundays because it's a church.
And
Things that also came up last night was the policy that's already in effect where you cannot have any city buildings that can rent it out to anybody for a profit. So any businesses, and the gym show is actually one of the examples, I believe. And it was a policy that hasn't been enforced because the questions and stuff when people come in to rent it don't actually go down or drill down that far to make the decision. And now that's going to change too, it looks like.
Just a couple of thoughts. First of all, I agree with John and Cheryl. I think this building, I was one of the ones who was here when it was built, and I was on the city council during that time as well. I think the intention has always been to have as much use of this building as possible. The use as a church, I would go one step further and just ban churches altogether because that's the way I feel about churches. But I don't think any business should have a monopoly on things. Another observation, and I may be all wet on this, but I've always understood that alcohol is also not prevented or not allowed at Riverfront Park. We seem to get around that every year without even getting a permit of any kind, although I've suggested that to the committee at times and they just laugh at me. So I don't know what the difference is between having alcohol down in the park and having alcohol here.
Good point. Mike?
So first of all, I don't have a problem with paying $1,000 if you want to have alcohol here. I know how much other places charge, and this place is such a steal that if you add $1,000 to your cost of renting this place so that you want to have alcohol at a wedding or whatever, I don't think that's out of line at all. So to me, just so you know, I mean, the world is a lot more expensive than we think it is. Here we're isolated in Sedro Woolley, but go anywhere else and try to get a facility like this. It's got a kitchen and bathrooms that don't stink and all the other stuff. And what you're going to be, it's going to be $5,000-$6,000 for an event. So what we're paying, I don't even know what we're paying, but having, a couple, I mean, they have to be off duty. That's why they're expensive, right?
They have a 4-hour minimum.
4-hour
overtime.
minimum, off duty. I think that it's a steal. I just sent a text to my wife to see if we want to do it at our house. I doubt it, but I mean, that's the problem is where do you go if we don't go here.
Right.
So, and I'm just drinking water for the next 3 months, so it doesn't matter to me, but there's a lot of people that like to have, you know, a glass of wine or something, especially the women that we bring. So I'm just putting it out there.
So let's move to Rich. Let's move to Rich.
I was just thinking that could they possibly make a distinguish if you're a 501c nonprofit such as we are, that we might be able to differentiate.
I know they do have some caveats in the full ordinance that do relate to being a nonprofit. That's basically for fundraising and stuff like that. But it really comes down to this is a reaction to we still have bullet holes in the building here. What's that? Yeah. So we're going to see where this goes. I don't see changing anything we're doing, going to war with anybody. I don't drink a heck of a lot, but I know a lot of people do enjoy having a drink or two. But like John said, we can get around that. The only problem I can foresee is if Bill McCann is smited by a lightning bolt right through the roof here, that we might have some leaking building. You haven't been smited yet, though, right? So he's probably okay. Yeah.
In regards to the Christmas party, there are now 2 new facilities in Woolley. Bob Cushing has one out on East Jones Road and the one over here on Fruitdale Road, just north of Highway 20, and they can accommodate over 100 people.
I had completely forgot about those 2. What's that? So and you know it's something that we need to keep in our back pocket to see if it's something we want to do. This is where we want to be, and this is supporting the city, and this is supporting us. I mean, we've done a lot of this, so we'll keep all those in mind. I had forgotten about those. Those are good options there for anything else. Right. But, you know, I was just thinking about this as I was kind of putting this together in my head this morning. And I was thinking, oh, so let's say John says, hey, I've got a place you guys can come party at my place, you know, a building. Would you want to accept the liability of having that at your building, John? I know you have, and you could, but do you want to in this day and age? No, I don't think anybody does. Right. So I was going to suggest that if they were concerned about intoxicated people and late at night, that would have been handy back in the 90s when I was rolling around in the alley outside the Castle Tavern with drunks, and Cascade Pizza for most of the first 15 years I worked here. That would have been handy. Let's just shut them down. But we want people to enjoy the city. So that's where it comes down to. So that's where we are on that. I'm going to move forward with that. I'm going to go to the city council meetings, express our concerns, and show support. If anybody else is interested, we could let you know when those are. And I'm sure it'll probably be the next 2 city council meetings, right, Joellen? Kind of depends on how long it takes. So we'll see. So just 2 last things, and I've only got about 7 minutes left. If you have not looked at your Rotary booklet, and if you wonder what Ruth does, this right here, the information in this booklet, she has consistently added more information to the booklet. On page 5, club administration, there is a QR code in this book. You can scan with your phone. It pulls up a worksheet. If you're a monthly team captain, you can pull that up and fill in the blanks. I can't do this. I don't know how Ruth does this. She says, look at the Google document. I don't own Google Documents. I don't know what it takes to get Google Documents. I'm happy with Word. but I'm going to have to evolve. So I understand that. Actually, some of the things that Ruth has put in place, I mean, it's just incredible the amount of time and effort that she has, and others, but Ruth has been the main one for the last couple of years, put into the administration of this club. And if she was here, I'd ask people to stand up and give her applause. She would get a lot of ribbing for the emails that she sends out. I mean, the volumes of emails that she would send out. But conversely, after she sends out the email, I get a call. Hey, when is this happening? Did you read your email? No. It's in the email. It's all in the email. Everything that we're doing is in the email. I'm much more brief, to the point. We got this, this, and this. Any questions? Have a nice day. Ruth had a lot of information in those things, but there's a lot of good information in the book. If you don't know what team you're on, it's on page 6. Teak. Is Teak here? You couldn't find it the other day, and you're allowed to drive. What the heck? So take a look at your book. Yep. There's a lot of good information in there. There's a lot of things that we need to know. And finally, and it really comes up to, this is going to be one of the most important things we just talk about real quick. We need an auction chair. We have a couple of people that are managing certain portions of the auction, and we can't just have anybody that wants to do it. It's got to be the right person to do it. It's got to be good move there, Sergeant at Arms. I fine her $1 for not taking over the auction chair. Trying to con.
Isn't the only answer always yes?
Yeah. Oh, ouch. But no, in all honesty, we need somebody that can ramrod the whole thing. We've had a lot of people that have stepped up to the plate over the years and done this. Rich has done this. Tim has done this. Becky's done it. We've had several other people over the years that have done this, and it's a lot of work. But though every year that we did it, we got more and more information. We got more and more kind of systems developed. And we just need somebody to ride herd over all of this. And so we're going to be looking real hard for the right person. Like I said, it's got to be the right person. If you've just got a lot of free time, I'm a domestic servant. I don't have a lot of extra time in my life. I do all the grocery shopping and housekeeping and all that. But if you are looking for something like that and you want to take on the challenge, we're going to be asking around to see who can do that. Because we are going to be starting the process, whether we've got an auction head or it's just our board getting together and making sure that we're starting to have in-person meetings this time. We didn't have in-person meetings last time, and we're going to have in-person meetings this time, or Zoom meetings for our auction committee. So we got a lot of stuff coming up. It's already starting, and we want to make sure we're on top of it. And with that, we do not have to put up the chairs and tables today, according to Joellen. She's got another party coming in here. And Joellen, did you want to say anything about your museum event? Is there anything left to say?
That's right. We're having the Sedro Woolley Museum auction, and it's going to be this Saturday, and there's still available tickets. So if you'd like to come, we would love to have you. It starts at 4:30.
Got it. And if nobody has anything else to say, remember, we're heading down to, hey, Tiffany, we're heading to Riverfront Park. Got it. And with that, any further?